My next guest is someone who I look up to not only as an industry leader, but also as a maternal figure in the industry. She definitely says the same things as my own mama, and I just enjoy being in her company since it's so familiar. So, ladies and gentlemen, I present to you the one and only Candy Shaw, founder of Sunlight, perfecter of French cutting, and huge promoter of Beauty Changes Lives. I chat with her about who she is as a person before being all these amazing things. Let's check it out. Are you a beauty or barber pro looking for that push to do that thing you've always wanted to do, whether it's in or out of the salon, spa, or shop? Are you tired of not feeling good enough, smart enough, skilled enough? Are you tired of not getting a handle on your mental health, boundaries, and insecurities? I'm Christine Sherwood, the BeautyPro coach, an internationally certified coach, a salon and spa owner, and your personal Jiminy Cricket. I use my own experiences, good and bad, as a salon owner to help you be more self-aware, authentic, and forward-thinking in your approach to life, in and out of the salon. It's time to reach your version of success with the Beauty Pro Coach podcast. Oh my goodness, my listeners. We have a very special guest here today, and her name, you already know who she is. Her name is Candy Shaw. Miss Candy, thank you for being here.
I am so grateful that you've asked me to do this, and I'm delighted to be here.
Thank you. I feel very blessed, very privileged to be able to have this conversation with you. Just saying.
Well, you haven't had it yet, so you might regret your question.
I don't know. I don't know.
Yeah, it's going to be awesome. I'm so excited.
So, for anybody who perhaps does not know you because they've been living under a rock, can you introduce yourself and tell everybody who you are?
Well, my name is Candy Shaw, aka the BALAY LLAMA, and I'm sort of known for teaching French cutting and balayage. But I think my biggest claim to fame that I really love for listeners to know is I am still a stylist at the chair. And a lot of folks think, oh, you made a brand, you did all these things, you've been 45 years in this industry. Surely she's not doing hair, but I am. And that is truly my secret sauce. And I'm a mother, a grandmother to two beautiful, perfect children, and a wife of 35 years. And I'm really proud of that.
I love it. I love it. So, why still work behind the chair? Why not
Well,
step away?
I love it. So I am a salon owner to a 50 chair salon in Atlanta, Georgia. And my father was a competition hairdresser and a
Mhm.
huge advocate, for hairdressing. And actually in Georgia, you don't have to go to beauty school. You can apprentice and not go to beauty school. So I run all of our training alongside of a great team of people for our proteges. And I just love having my finger on the pulse of what's going on. I feel it makes
Mhm.
me a more relevant educator because I'm dealing with the same issues that my student in the classroom is dealing with. I'm here at the chair 2 days a week, and truly it's not work for me. It's literally I love it. And most importantly, I think it also shows our staff, our team members leadership, that I
Mhm.
work hard too, and I get in the trenches with them, and I help take out the trash, and I do
Mhm.
all those things. And so for me, I just don't never want to lose sight of my heritage, to be honest.
Yeah. Oh, I love that. Speaking of heritage, everything is French.
Hmm.
Are you French?
No, I'm not. I'm
Ah.
about as country as they come. I was born and raised in Atlanta, and my father had an eighth grade education, and he was
Mhm.
raised in Tennessee. My mother was raised in Alabama. So I never really went far. I was born here, and I have spent time in Europe, obviously,
Mhm.
but most importantly, for me, I just learned the French techniques of how to do
Got
things.
it.
And so that's kind of why I'm known for French cutting.
Got it. Okay. So now, how you have this 50 chair salon. You work with Wella, you work with Sunlight's Professional, which is your brand as well, right? You have all of these things going. But what are some failures, past or present, that you feel has really have been some of your biggest ones?
Well, first of all, you don't have enough time on your podcast
Okay.
to go through because any entrepreneur will know that
Mhm.
there's no rocket ship to the top. If
Mm.
you think about going out there and starting a brand, you've got to realize that the road is very crooked. It comes around and goes up in circles and up and downs. But I think probably the thing I'm most proud of, I'd like to start with that. I
Yeah.
think I'm most proud of all the no's that
Mhm.
I gave to people along the way in my career. And what I mean by
Oh.
is sometimes the best decisions I ever made were the ones I didn't. It's the
Mhm.
ones I didn't do. It's the ones I didn't say yes to because you see, hairdressers typically are nurturers. And so we naturally want to say yes to everything and we love everybody and we just want
Mhm.
to take care of everybody. And for me, I had to grow accustomed to being okay with that dirty little word called no. You know,
Mhm.
no doesn't mean never. No just means not right now. And or no means maybe, maybe later, right? And
Mhm.
so some of the failures I think I could have experienced were if I said yes and
Mhm.
I wasn't prepared. You know, when you're underprepared and you say yes to something, then you just scramble and then you
Mhm.
start making stuff up and you just start doing things just for the sake of being done.
Mhm.
And so I'd love to say that possibly, you know, I avoided a lot of those failures. Now, have I had failures? You betcha.
Mhm.
I mean, anyone that's not scarred and tarred, you know, come on, you're lying
Yeah,
because you
thank you.
are, you're lying. I mean, it's absolutely not. I used to say, if you haven't told me no, you're probably a nobody, you know? You know what I mean? Because I built a foundation on all the bricks that were thrown at me. I mean, imagine this. You
Mhm.
have a father who was a 60-year champion hairdresser who's wildly respected in this industry. And you're the boss's daughter.
Mhm.
And so then there's all that scrutiny of she'll never be big enough, she'll never be as good enough, and you have a target on your back. Let's face it, women are mean,
Yeah.
you know, and they say mean things. They don't even
Mhm.
have a clue what they're talking about sometimes. So for me, I've definitely had failures, and part of that has been on my father teaching me to do things that he did and maybe succeeded at, and he wanted to see me not succeed or vice versa. Like he'd tell
Mhm.
me, "Don't do that. I've already done it. It doesn't work."
Right.
Like, "No, I have to try. I have to try on my own."
Yeah.
So I would say, from a business perspective, I avoided a lot of challenges in my life, simply taking sometimes what I would call the path of least resistance.
Mm.
And because of that, I've had a slow burn, like with sunlights. It's been a
Mhm.
slower growth period where a lot of people just want to get on that rocket ship and go straight up. I took the path of least resistance. Is that a failure? No, the company is still doing amazing things and it's still amazing. But I'm 10 years still scratching and clawing, right?
Right.
So, some might see that as, oh, well, you didn't sell your company at 5 years or 6 years or 8 years, like a lot of people do.
Mhm.
But for me, it's so much fun. I just don't want to give it up.
Yeah. Yeah, if it's fun, you gotta keep doing it. It's like a strength. You build on your strengths, right?
Absolutely.
So, would you say that being your father's daughter was something that was the biggest thing you had to overcome?
I think it was definitely a big obstacle. I will say this, I do remember the time, my whole career, I was Jameson Shaw's daughter.
Mhm.
And I do remember the moment that I was at a hair show and somebody ran up to me and said, "Oh my gosh, that's Candy Shaw's father." And it switched. like, I went from being Jameson Shaw's daughter my whole life, kinda
Yeah.
under the umbrella, and then, eventually he became my father, if that makes
Yeah,
sense.
no, it makes sense.
And, so my dad was incredible. He passed away last year,
Mhm,
and I missed calling him every single day because he was really just the E.F. Hutton of hairdressers.
mhm.
And for those of you who don't know who E.F. Hutton is, there used to be a tagline that said, "When E.F. Hutton speaks, everyone listens."
Yeah.
And he was just a wealth of wisdom and knowledge, and he, was the original street punk. He built a
Mm.
business and a mega business off, like I said, an 8th grade education and
Yeah.
and really no formal training. So it really wasn't hard working for my dad because he made it hard. It was probably hard working for my dad because I made it hard. I wanted
Mm.
to impress him. I wanted to make him proud. I wanted to make him, you know, just I wanted to see this business double and triple in size
Yeah.
from all the great groundwork that he had done himself.
I love that. Owning a salon with my mom and hearing you talk so highly about your dad, it's really something that you just, like, you can explain it, but you can't really explain it because you just wanna make their dream, like, bigger and better than they could have, like, ever imagined, and it's just, ah. So with
But
all
there's those times when, like, when everybody else doesn't wanna work, you're there, you know? I
Right.
mean, you can't dial it in. I mean, you don't get a hall pass.
Right, you don't.
Don't get a
Everything
hall pass.
everything falls on you, even
Yeah.
more so. So, yes. So, with all of that going on, especially because this is the first year is the hardest when when you lose a loved one.
Mhm,
Um, how and but the businesses still go on because they have to, right? They have their own life.
mhm.
How have you been nourishing yourself?
Well, I do wanna say that I had the wherewithal over almost 18, 19 years ago to buy the business from my dad.
Mm,
And I wanted to do that just simply because it would be the easiest exit strategy for him, and it would be
mhm.
easier on me just to not always have to answer, you know?
Yeah.
Like, if I decided to do something and I failed miserably at it, then I would just say that's on me,
Right,
and
right.
wanted to protect him in that way. But I have a really great network of friends and girlfriends and people. I have a great, wonderful marriage. I work with my family. My son is in the business. My daughter-in-law is in the business. My husband's in the business. So we are really good when you grow up in a hair salon. And
Yeah.
I literally did. I rode my
Mhm.
bicycle to my dad's salon to fold towels after school when I was 7 years old. Started cutting hair when I was 13. When you grow up in the business, all you ever know is a hair salon.
Yeah.
So we made a conscious effort long ago in our family to cut it off. So there's moments like we're at dinner, we're at whatever,
Mhm.
we're like, okay, we're not talking about the salon today. We're going to talk about
Okay.
family. We're going to talk about, you know, goals, aspirations, dreams, what have you. But we were, I have carried that philosophy with me as a leader. I shut it off, you know,
Mhm.
and I that helps take care of me. I also people would be surprised to know that when I travel, and I travel a lot
Mhm.
teaching, I don't go to a lot of dinners. I don't hang out late.
Mhm.
I don't pony up at the hotel bar.
Mhm.
I get my job done. And my dad would have many sayings, and one of them was, "If you're going to fly with the eagles in the morning, you can't hoot with the owls at night."
Oh, I love
And
that.
that's been a really conscious balance effort
Yeah.
is to constantly balance that work life and when you're on the road to go to bed, get great sleep, take care of myself, both with exercise and nutrition and those types of things. And if you don't make a conscious effort to do that, you'll wake up one day and take a hard look in the mirror and go, "Whoa," And
Mhm.
so I've seen the road hurt a lot of people. I'm on the road all the time,
Yeah.
shows everywhere there are, and I see the wear and tear.
Yeah.
It's like a rock band.
Yeah. Yeah.
They just it's the wear and tear of people, maybe not taking great care of themselves. So I really do make a conscious effort of that.
Mm-hmm. I heard you say that your whole, pretty much, I mean, a good portion of your family, excuse me, is in the family business.
Mhm.
What can you tell people who's okay, so I've coached quite a few people and their husbands are not in the business. They don't understand it. Their kids are giving them a hard time because why does mom have to work so late, or why does everything have to be around the salon? Like, what would you advise these salon owners, these hairstylists with that family issue? Like, what we do is so much different than anything else in the entire world that our families kind of think, oh, you're just playing Barbie all day. So how do you advise them to get their family involved?
Well, no one is going to love it or love you like your family.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel so grateful that I have my family in this business. I mean, we've gone through a lot, ups,
Yeah.
downs, rights, lefts, celebrations, and, sadness. But there's just nobody that's going to work as hard as the persons that love you most.
Yeah.
So I would advise them to just know your lane. So my husband has he's a lawyer.
Mm-hmm.
So I like to say to people, it's just a funny thing to say, but I sleep with counsel. And what that means is,
You go, girl.
yeah, but it helps. It helps because he does things. There is absolutely, I have no clue how to do it.
Yeah.
No clue.
Yeah.
So when you're telling me that people say, well, my husband doesn't really understand it, well, there's something he does understand. Maybe he's in finance. Maybe
Mm-hmm.
he's a great mathematician. Maybe he understands leadership. Maybe
Mm-hmm.
he is great at rallying the troops. My son majored in family business and entrepreneurialism in college. And what that helped him do is understand things like um, raising capital, logistics, shipping,
Yeah.
retail management, HR,
Cool.
all those things. So
Mm-hmm.
what we do is we have like this triangle, maybe this Bermuda Triangle of understanding. I don't go over there, you don't come over here. Like, I
Mm-hmm.
don't know how to cut hair, so stay in your lane. When it
Right.
comes to training stylists or rolling out a new curriculum or whatever, that has to stay in the creative part, in my lane.
Mm-hmm.
The emotional part of the business is what I run, the
Yeah.
creative emotional part.
Yeah.
Whereas my husband runs the finance and all that, and my son runs all logistics and education for our brand Sunlight's Professional. So what we do is we just know you have to listen with intent to learn when you
Mm.
meet with them because you don't have all the answers. It's impossible just because you're the CEO, the owner or whatever title you want to give yourself,
Mm-hmm.
chief bottle washer. Um, I think you have to recognize that you're not good at everything.
Yeah.
You got to relinquish control. And
Yeah.
that's hard sometimes for people.
Mm-hmm. All right. So with that being said, working with family, being with family all the time, what what is a lesson that you personally have learned that you wish other people, like your mailman, that you wish that they would understand that you have learned working in this business?
Working in hairdressing or working in family?
Working in hairdressing. Being in the salon, we learn a lot of different things. So, what is it that you
Uh,
want your doctor, your mailman to understand, to get that we learn?
Well, it's really interesting that you say that, and it's corny. What I'm going to say is really corny. I think everyone in the world is hurting a little bit, and this is not
Yeah.
just now. This is
Yeah.
not like this is not a political stance at all. I just think
Mm-mm.
people are hurting,
Yeah.
and we have a license to touch, and there's only 5 licenses in that I know of that you could touch people. My husband's a lawyer. He can't touch people. He will get sued for that. You
Right.
know, there's the doctor, the dentist, obviously, the esthetician, the nail artist, the hairdresser. These are licenses that we've earned to touch people.
Mm-hmm.
And I think we could teach others about tenderness and about that
Mm.
people are hurting. And sometimes we need to recognize, you know, in our own way, that if you just try to get into people's psyche a bit, and
Mhm.
because we sell happiness for a living, right? So hair doesn't
Right.
sell happiness. It's beauty. Oh, I love my hair. I feel better. Um, if there were a way to connect the corporate world into a place that would be feasible, that doesn't seem awkward or corny or like, ooh, you don't get the icks over it. But it would be really nice for people to be more kind. That's what we
Yeah.
want. We're more kind, we're more giving, we're more understanding, we're more empathetic. Uh, we're more, sympathy driven. I mean, people are telling us about death and divorce
Yeah.
and illness and so we have that license to touch people. And so I would just
Mhm.
say the lesson I would say is just be kind,
Yeah.
recognize that someone out there is hurting and you don't know their story.
Mm-mm. That's right. Everybody has a story, especially lately. I don't know. It's something going on, but yeah, absolutely. What's a myth that you get all the time about what you do?
Oh, that all hairdressers are broke, that we're, beauty school dropouts, that we don't have an education, and we put that on ourselves. Okay, so
Mm.
I'm going to shift the gear here a minute
Go for it.
because I do get on my high horse about this a little bit.
I'm
You
ready.
know, Casual Friday has kind of dumbed our business down a little bit. People just
Mhm.
showing up. uh, I always say bedazzled sweatpants and flip flops. I mean, we can't do that and be a beauty authority.
Mhm.
And so we have kind of shot ourselves down a bit. We're
Mhm.
now trying. I sit on a lot of. I'm fortunate enough to sit on a lot of committees and boards and things like that. And one of the biggest things is attracting people to our industry.
Mm.
Like, what can we do to make more people want to join? I mean, you joined because your mom was one, so it was
Mhm.
easy. It was an easy lane for you. But
Right.
what are we doing to the next generation to encourage them to become a hairstylist or an esthetician or a nail artist or a makeup,
Mhm.
any of those things? Like,
Mhm.
what are we doing? So part of it is the influx of obviously being an independent contractor. A
Mhm.
lot of people lie about what they make.
Mhm.
They do. They make money, they pay their rent, they do a lot of girl math
Mhm.
and they don't always tell the truth. Let's be
Yeah.
honest.
Yeah.
And what happens is when a mom, just say this, a parent goes and Googles, how much can a hairdresser make? You know, what comes up on the Google search engine is, $25,000, $30,000 a year. And a parent's like, you're not going to go to beauty school to make that. Not when you can go be in pharmaceutical sales or a nurse
Mhm.
or this or a teacher or whatever it is that they do. So
Mhm.
we are on an uphill battle to
Yeah.
get people to join the greatest industry on earth. I go to work every day, loving what I do for 45 years. How do we translate that into success and what that looks like? And so my high horse is, we have to take accountability.
Mhm.
We have to recognize that, you know, what is our value, right? So I go online in the mornings, I'm scrolling and I'm just reading and scrolling, instead of getting in the arguments like a lot of people do. I just
Yeah.
like, girl, just scroll on,
Yeah.
you know? And and there's all this like, I want to go up on my prices and I'm so tired of no-shows and I hate this and blah, 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 blah. We're just it's just a bitch fest.
Mhm.
And I'm like, whoa, 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 time out. First of all, how are you running your business? What is your accountability? What value are you giving to your chair? What are you doing about your training? Are you the best at this? You can't just demand, you can't just say,
Mhm.
well, I do this and I've been a hairdresser 10 years and so I deserve this. No, 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 no. I have people in my classroom 20 years don't never painted a head of hair. They're 20-year veterans.
Mhm.
So you can't demand it. So I think we've got to do a better job of
Mhm.
recognizing that we are beauty professionals and keyword professional.
Mhm.
Everything that comes out of our mouth must be professional. How we look must be professional. How we act must be professional. And if we continue to show these mothers and fathers and sisters and brothers what a great industry this is, then we will attract like-minded people, right? So the law of
Exactly.
attraction,
Yeah,
you attract what you are. And by the
exactly.
way, hairdressing's hard. It's hard. When we talk about it, I don't think we have a labor shortage. We have a talent shortage.
Mhm.
We have a talent shortage. And what I mean by that is like a restaurant can go hire a waiter, waitress, they can train them in 2 weeks how to wait a table. It
Yeah.
takes us a long time as a mentor and a coach to get somebody from soup to nuts. And so that time that we put into somebody to sharpen their skills is a lot,
Mhm.
and these folks that think they can graduate from a beauty college or an institution and go out on their own are nuts.
Thank you very much. Thank you
Nuts.
very, very much.
Because I don't care, you don't have like the law says that you have a 230 circle of know-how friends, okay?
Mhm. Mhm.
This is analytics. I'm not making this stuff up.
Yep.
And you're not going what you don't understand about what we do is not your friends and family aren't always going to be your customer,
Mhm.
right?
Mhm.
By the way, I don't do any of my family other than my children unless they want to pay full price because that time allotted at my chair is, is my time that I can sell my ticket, you know,
Right. Right.
my concert. And so I don't do that. Why we dumb it down. We do
Wow.
hair in the
That's really
kitchen,
Uh-huh.
hair in the kitchen, we do hair on the back porch, and then we wonder why we can't charge a greater value. So that's my high horse that I get on.
I love it.
I protect my license, I protect who I am, I protect my salon. I coach my team members to don't dumb yourself down. Don't barter. Bartering
Mhm.
is just dumbing down who you are, is saying you're not worth it.
Yeah.
Be worth it. Stand tall, get up, put your makeup on, get dressed, get in the game. And I feel like if we could do more of that, then our industry
Yeah.
and our skill level would continue to rise.
Absolutely. I'm kind of blown away. Like you don't do your family's hair. What do
Mm-mm.
you tell them? Be like, go see Susan.
No,
She's
no,
free.
no. At
Like,
a
how do you do that?
discount. No, at a discount.
Okay.
At a discount. I do my
Okay.
children, and
Okay.
if I have a sister-in-law, a cousin,
Yeah.
whatever, uh, you can come, but you have to pay what I charge. I
I
don't
love it.
because I only have so many hours in a day, right?
Right.
We get booked solid at 5 days a week. Now we wanna go to 4. We get books, then we wanna go to 3.
Mhm.
Now everybody, and to be honest, if I may say this,
Mhm.
um,
Please.
hairdressing has become a hobby for a lot of people. They got 3 jobs now, they're
Yes.
and they're teaching yoga and, oh my god, they have a camera, so now they're a photographer. And, and quite frankly, it saddens me that we aren't holding the greatest job on the planet, in my opinion, to a higher standard and being proud of that. We just did our goals and our all company meeting,
Mhm.
and we have 4 different categories that we have, and I have it right here, so I'm gonna read it to you because it's
Yeah.
sitting on my desk. Hold on, let me just grab it. Um, so we have 4 categories, and our categories exist of, someone that can produce up to $100,000 a year is in the Silver Club. The Gold Club is $175,000. The Platinum Club is $250,000, and Diamond Club is $325,000. We had people in all of those categories. We had actually 10 people in those categories. And so we have this myth of, hairdressers can't have, great livings,
Mhm.
but in order to get a good living, you got to come up with the formula. And the formula is 7 words to success. And that is show up on time, ready to work. You
Mm.
got to get to work. You
Right.
know, you can't just say, I'm going to work only this day and I don't work that day. Yeah, you can put that on your schedule. You can go to your kid's ball game. You can do those things. But if you get a reputation for not being there, people are going to quit calling you.
Right. Right.
Sorry, I
Oh,
didn't mean to
Lord.
go so hard on
No, no, it is about real and raw on this show.
that.
Okay. And that's what we're doing. No, that's beautiful. Yeah. Because I have noticed that, like, oh, yeah, I'm a hairdresser on Mondays and Tuesdays. And then the rest of the week, I don't know, cleaning houses. And you're like, what are you doing?
And I understand it. And
Yeah.
by the way, I want to say this to all your listeners out there. This is not me booth bashing because
Mhm.
I understand that there is a time and a place.
Yeah.
There are those who it works into their season of
Mhm.
life
Mhm.
and or their lifestyle. But a lot of people need leadership. They need
Yeah.
discipline. You know, we don't have the discipline. I mean, think about it. We have how many of your listeners have a gym membership and never
Mhm.
go?
Mhm.
You know, we don't have the discipline of somebody helping us along that way. I do believe in a team-based environment, you know, that culture. I believe in it. That's just who I am and what I believe in. And because to me, I do believe that leadership of 5 years ago before COVID, a lot of salon owners ran people away. I do know that. They made mistakes because they dialed it in. They didn't
Yeah.
care about their staff. They were, you know, not flexible. There's a lot of reasons, even my own accountability in that. Like
Mhm.
I had to pivot and become completely different of
Mhm.
the leadership style of 6, 7 years ago. Because you have to morph into the need of people,
Yeah.
right? But
Mhm.
you can't also just bend over, you know?
Right.
You can't just say, "Well, okay, well, I mean, y'all have just come when you want, leave when you want, doesn't matter if you work Saturdays, I don't care if you work late nights." You know, at some point, we have to have a give take, you know,
Yeah.
in order to accommodate guests in our in our cities or wherever we are. So I do realize that part of that rise of people going on their own was from leadership,
Mhm.
but I also realized that a lot of folks saw it as a quick way to cut back and
Mm.
only make work 2, 3 days and and not have to work as hard. And, but my question would be, do you really make more money or do you
Mhm.
touch more money?
Ooh, I
And,
like that. Ooh, I like that.
I mean, I just have to ask that because, I mean, we're notorious. I'm a salon owner. I mean, I have a
Mhm.
big beast. Pray for me, right? I
Oh,
have
girl, every
yeah,
day I'm praying. Yes.
yeah. Yeah. So I don't take anything for granted. I'm
Mhm.
not sitting here saying I have the answers because I
Mhm.
don't, because every day
Mhm.
I wake up and try to just be a better version of myself from yesterday. But
Yeah.
with that being said, we are notorious for not really understanding numbers
Mhm.
and doing a whole hell of a lot of girl math.
Yeah.
We're also notorious for having fast money in tips and gratuities, right? So we live off a lot of that. So we don't really calculate that. We
Mhm.
don't put that into certain calculations of how we run our business. The cost of living is going up, the cost of supplies are going up, everything is going up. Are you incrementally looking across the board at things that are disrupting your business too, whether
Mm.
you're as a leader of a team or on your own? Like, are you changing your ways as
Right.
well? And I think
Right.
it's really important to note there are two types of people. There are what I call like, not everyone can own a home. Some people just
Mm.
rent a home or
Right.
lease a car, right? That was the
Mhm.
crash of Enron. Enron crashed, the Fannie Mae whole thing crashed because they were basically giving loans to everybody and people
Mhm.
didn't have the discipline to handle it.
Right.
So they defaulted. So that's what I'd say to your listener, like, are you disciplined enough to pull yourself out of bed every day and put your rod in the water? Or are you only going to come to work on the days you have someone on your book? That would be the question I would have.
That is the question. That is the question,
Mm-hmm.
right? So leadership style, the confidence that you're exuding, the teaching, I know not everybody is going to agree with you,
Of
right? There's probably
course.
some people who's rolling their eyes right now.
Mhm.
So what insult have you ever gotten that you are so proud that you got?
Well, one time I got insulted by this guy that asked me if I was ever going to change my haircut. My God, I haven't for so long. And I was like, okay, well, no, I actually like my hair. I get a lot of compliments on it, and I have a series called the Blunt Bob, and
Okay.
so no, I'm not. That was kind of an insult, if you want to know the truth.
I
And
mean,
listen,
honestly, it's kind of, if we were to make like a cartoon
I
of
have
you,
one.
yeah, it's the blunt Bob with the yellow glasses. Like that is Candy. Like, what are you
Yeah,
talking about?
that's right. And again, back to insulting uh,
Yeah.
someone, we have to listen to all sides. I said
Yeah.
earlier, you have to listen with intent to learn. This is no attack on anything. I
Mm-mm.
think you just have to have get some cold hard facts within yourself. So if you're not happy with where you're at, and whatever reason, you have to dive into, what is that disruptor? What
Yeah.
is it? Again, not right or wrong, not team versus on your own. It's just you, the individual. It's not for
Mm.
everybody. You
Yeah.
know, everybody's not a one-man band,
It's
you know.
yeah. What I tell some of my staff, because we have a hybrid, is that it's trade-offs.
Hmm.
What are you willing to trade off and can you handle it?
Hmm.
Very very straight up, very blunt, very real and raw. Like you
Hmm.
tell me and then we'll take it from there. But yeah, all about that. I love it.
Well, I shake the keys at my staff all the time and ask them if anybody wants to buy it, because it is hard.
Well, that's so good, Candy. I'm going to do that.
Yeah, and here's the thing, we assume all the risk,
Yeah.
and none of
Yeah.
us signed up to be starving artists. Let's face it.
Mhm.
Whether you're in a salon, a hybrid, it doesn't matter. Nobody wants to be a starving artist.
Mhm.
But everybody's in a different journey and a different season. But I will say this, right decisions or popular decisions aren't always right. And
Mm.
right decisions aren't always popular. And
Yeah.
I think you have to think, is this a right decision for me? And am
Mhm.
I doing this because it's popular with everyone,
Mhm.
or it's going to offend some people that maybe think I shouldn't do this or what have you? So I think you have to have that hardcore um, understanding of what you are capable of,
Mhm.
what you need and what you need to do. And I think being around a space and being a creative, it's important to be around others that are also creative. And if you can surround yourself with that, then you're already winning.
Yeah. Yeah. What do you want to be remembered for?
Mm. I want to be remembered for only being as good as my last haircut.
Mm.
I want to be remembered for always mentoring and coaching people out of kindness and love and support.
Mm. Mhm.
I want to be remembered for being, obviously, on my personal life, a great wife, great mother, great grandmother, you know, someone who listened, someone who cared, someone who helped. Um, I always wanted to be remembered with my parents, who are both deceased, as a great daughter, and I did
Mm.
accomplish that. I never had a crossword with my parents in my whole life, really. I'm really proud of that.
Mm.
I mean, other than, no, I don't want to do that. But I never had that moment like a lot of folks do, where they don't talk to their mom and dad, or
Oh
they
yeah,
don't,
no.
have that.
Mhm.
But really, just of always just trying her best to be her
Yeah.
best, and
Yeah.
to just recognizing that she was okay with criticism, and she took it well, and if she lost, she never lost the lesson.
Mm. See, you can tell that you really have taken that question and analyzed it for yourself way before this podcast interview. And I really appreciate that.
Well, I'll get asked it, quite frankly, a lot because
Really?
I'm
Okay.
later in my career because, you know,
Yeah.
I'm 45 years a hairstylist.
Yeah.
I mean, some people that are listening are not even half of that in age, you know?
Like 18. Yeah. Yeah.
So people ask me like, what's next? You know, what's next for you?
Well, what is next for you?
Well, continuing to teach, travel, help build my brand. Obviously, I just always feel like I want to pay forward my gifts.
Mhm.
I don't want to sound. I really don't want to sound this way, but I'm just going to say this just, and I hope people understand that I'm a humble person. But I'm good at what I do, and I want people to get better at what they do.
Yeah.
And if I can share that with them, lovingly and help them in my academy in Atlanta or on the road, that is winning for me. That is the greatest paycheck I could ever
Yeah.
get. I don't focus on the money.
Mm-mm.
You know, I focus in the moment and I just focus on, you know, the things that it brings me that money can't buy.
Right.
You know, some people are so rich they're poor,
Mm-hmm.
you know, and so I just I it's never, even though I've been very successful and I'm fortunate enough to have a really great life, I just never focused on the money. I always said money makes you more of what you already are, you know,
Oh,
so
yeah.
focus on you, be a
Mhm.
better person, be a better hairstylist or whatever it is that you're doing out there, be the best at it, and the money will come. Like
Mm.
if you focus on a dollar, you're just going to be focused on the next dollar after that. And quite frankly, you know, if an 18-year-old listener or 19, 20, I have a 23-year-old daughter, is out there listening, I would say to you, if you don't think people in their 60s like me, 45 years in the industry, don't have money problems, you are smoking crack. There, we all have
Yeah.
money problems. It's just another zero. Like
Yeah.
you might be worried about $100, the next guy's worried about 1,000. Next person's worried about 10,000. Next person's worried about 100,000. It's just another zero. We don't you don't it doesn't take away issue.
Mhm.
It just, you know, does it help things not to have to struggle? I certainly am not discrediting that
Mhm.
at all. You know, people who can't make their rent or what have you. I mean, I pray for those folks,
Mhm.
you know, to get better at what they can do so they can. But it's not a solver of all problems, I guess is what I'm trying
Mhm.
to say. You know,
Right.
it's
Yeah.
not.
Yeah. And I love it. Yeah. The power of prayer is powerful,
Mhm.
folks. Okay. All right. So time is escaping. So my final question that I just love asking everybody is, what is a question that you wish I would have asked you and how would you have answered?
Um, what am I good at other than hair?
Oh, that is a good one. That is a good one. Okay. What's the answer?
So I am dyslexic. And so that was a struggle and something that I struggled with my whole life. And I never went to beauty school, I never went to college. And so I am self taught in pretty much everything I've done, you know,
Mm. Mhm.
because obviously I just said why. But I am a fan freaking tastic entertainer. And what I mean by that is I love tablescapes, I do flower arrangements, I can turn a party into a wonderland overnight. Like I am a creative. I love Hobby Lobby. I love going to Michael's. I am a home goods literally like a probably to a fault, you
Oh
know,
my
like
God, I love
I think
this.
I go to 3 home goods in a day. Okay?
Because there's different stuff.
Okay. I am a Cosquette. Do you know what a Cosquette is?
No, what is that?
Costco. I
Oh,
am like
yes.
I call myself a Cosquette. Like I love it. So I love to entertain. I love to entertain people. I love to have family. I love to have And when I say entertain, it's not always just a dinner party. It's
Right.
like my granddaughter's getting ready to have her 5th birthday party at my salon. It's going to be Barbie braids and bows.
Oh my God, I
So
love it.
just give me a theme and I will throw up on it of all of the things that you can build and do and construct. I'm very handy with things like that. I'm very, artistic outside of cutting hair. And so
Yeah.
that's probably something I'm really good at. I'm going to tell you something I'm not good at.
Okay.
Cooking.
No way. No
Swear.
way.
Swear. My
I
husband.
really felt like you had the Southern
No.
cooking down. No?
No. I actually stink at it. My husband has cooked every single meal for the past, we've been together 37 years, married 35, for the past 37 years. I am a lucky girl.
Wow,
But
yes, you are,
I
but
can clean the kitchen and I can set the table and I can buy the groceries and I can be a wonderful galley wench. But I cannot cook. So there you have it.
that wow, I was not expecting that one. But that's perfect. You guys are totally matched. You can totally do for the and you really are creative, like 100% all the way. Would that
Yes.
be like a side hustle for you?
Totally. I
Right.
could
Yeah.
totally be an event planner, a wedding planner. I planned both of my sons' weddings to a T. Um, I love it. I love it. It's kind of my happy place because it's
Yeah.
letting me work with my hands without having to talk, to
Oh,
people,
yes. Yes.
which we do all day long.
Mhm.
It's allowing me to be uh, innovative and creative in a different space that I
Mm.
really truly love. And you know, I I think if I was to retire tomorrow, like, retire
Right,
tomorrow
exactly.
too, I would love to have like a little coffee shop slash florist. You know what I mean? Like my husband would be on one side doing like coffees and breakfast and cute things like that, and I'd be
Yeah.
on the other side making your flower arrangements and, just like a little gift shop. I would
Oh
love.
my god, I love it. What would you call it?
Oh gosh,
Candies?
I have no idea. I haven't really thought about that. Sweets and treats or something. I
Oh,
don't know.
that's cute. That's cute. That's cute.
Get your candy on one side and your my husband's name is Fred, and get your sweet on the other.
That's so cute. I love that so
Breakfast
much.
food. Yeah.
Well, I really appreciate you, Candy. I know we had some mix up that today for today's episode, but I'm so grateful for you. Has been a really pleasant chat.
Oh, it's wonderful. And listen, I think it's amazing what you're doing. And I think we need more of it. People need to tell their stories. They need to
Yeah.
be heard in a way that's can help others, give them a leg up in this industry. I right now I, I am very involved in raising money for this industry for Beauty Changes Lives.
Yes.
Part of what we do is to get more people in this industry and to donate scholarship dollars. So that's a big part of my love, to give back. And I think I would say to all your listeners, no matter where you are on your journey,
Mhm.
turn around, find the person who's behind you and pull them next to you and help them go the journey. If we could just reach back and pull the bottom up,
Yeah.
then I think we would be in a much greater space going
Mhm.
forward.
I love that. Thank you for that. Yeah. 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 That's a beautiful note that we're going to end on.
I love it. Thank you so much for having me. Anytime,
Thank
I'd be
you.
happy to jump back on and tell you more.
Thank you. All right, you guys, that is this episode for this week. Thank you for tuning into the Beauty Pro podcast, and I will talk to you later.
If you loved this episode, subscribe to the Beauty Pro podcast on Spotify and Apple Podcasts so you never miss an episode. Don't forget to leave your reviews, stars, feedback so I can continue bringing the content you deserve and want most. Your feedback fuels this podcast. The more you give, the more you get back. You can follow me at The Beauty Pro Coach on Instagram and Facebook. Want to contact me directly? email me at befree@goldentruthcoaching.com.